Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Dominions 5. My name's Mew. This time around I'm going to be playing a multiplayer game set in the early age, and I'm going to be playing as Szumogliika. In this video I'm just going to go over the settings used in this game, I'll talk about the mods and the map as well, and then I'll talk a little bit about Szumogliika and the god that I made. At the end of this video I will probably then also go over all of Szumogliika's commanders and units, since it's a mod nation, so this is probably very new to you. And I'll probably look at some of their national spells as well, since they're quite important. So this video will just be an introduction to this series, and the next video in this series will be turn 1 to 3. So if you just want to see gameplay, wait for that one. Before we start though, I would like to thank all of my subscribers for supporting the channel. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, which I guess is a milestone. Thank you. And thanks also to my Patreon supporters as well, who've kept me going. If you do enjoy this series, or you enjoy any of the series on the channel, please consider subscribing so that you can always stay up to date. There should be 2 videos going up in this series each week. I think I'm aiming for Mondays and Thursdays, unless something goes wrong. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. I have been variously described as a broad strokes thinker, a guy who just enjoys Dominions, not a very detail-oriented player, all of which are euphemistic ways of saying that I don't really know what I'm doing, but you know, I have fun. I try things out. I try my best. Anyway, let's get into this game. So this is an early age game called EA with Mew. It's very special. It's a early age game running the JBBM balance mod, which is the usual balance mod that we use over on the Ruby Discord. And it also has a very special edition, which is players in this game were allowed to play any one of my 4 mod nations. So I have 4 mod nations. I have Kirkostaculis, which is the clan nation. I have Szumogliika, this one, which is the glitch nation. I have Uuodeouda, which is the tendrils nation. And I have Ocaf, which is Ocaf. I wasn't sure if all 4 of my nations would get picked, but they were, so all 4 of them are in this game, which is pretty cool. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's nice to play a nation that I made because it's one of those rare times when I actually know exactly how to play the nation because it's mine. So usually, usually I just figure things out as I go, but I actually know what I'm doing with this nation, in theory. I guess we'll find out. So I'll go over all of Szumogliika's commanders and units and things at the end of this video in detail, but in brief, they are an astral nature death nation. They have pretty weak mages overall. They don't have any kind of like big cap mage. They just have little recruit anywhere mages that have 1 point in one path and 2 points in another, and that's it, which is pretty weak for early age. But they have a spell that lets them transform into much more powerful mages, so you really kind of rely on gem income to have more powerful magic through the mid game. And their troops are pretty solid though. So you kind of rely on your high quality troops to get you into the mid game, where you start relying on magic a lot more. That's how they're supposed to play. For the early age, they're pretty solid in terms of equipment and things. They're sort of technologically advanced. So I think their weapons and armor are like top tier for early age. They're really solid units anyway. They have a really good archer with a siege bonus, really nice line troops that have formation fighter, and they have recruit anywhere H2 priests. So it's not too difficult to bless their troops as well, and they have a really good cap-only sacred. The conceit of the nation is that the mages are interested in probing the sort of fabric of reality. And in Dominions, of course, if you probe the fabric of reality, you uncover that you're in a computer, because this is a computer game. And so that idea is taken very sort of literally, and so the magic that they do interferes with the game and produces glitches and things like that, and that's what their magic is. But anyway, you could probably run a variety of different builds with them. I think their troops are good enough that you don't need lots and lots of them, so you could go lower scales, bigger bless, and rely on more of your bless troops and summons, or just go full scales, you know, don't need an awake god because your troops are pretty good. Whatever, lots of ways you can play it. In my case, we are worshipping Steam/Steam apps/workshop/content, the Celestial Lens. This Pretender chassis might be a bit too strong. Szumogliika is a nation I made back in Dominions 4, and then it just got converted. I gave it a update last year, I think. But You know, now that I look at this Pretender chassis again, it might be a bit too busted. Why on earth does it have 32 base Pretender? I guess because it's a power of 2 or whatever. Let's not worry too much about that though. We are worshipping the Celestial Lens. It's very strong. This is a good immobile Pretender. It doesn't have any slots really. Got 2 Miscellaneous slots, but didn't really need too many items anyway. It is a small inspiring researcher, so +1 research. That helps us out for taking Drain. It's an innate spellcaster, which interests me quite a lot. Reduces some resources, so kind of helps out in the cap. Don't really need too much productivity. And it's also a Dominion monster summoner. In this case, it will very occasionally produce our sacreds, specifically 1 glitches and sometimes 2 glitches. But I'll show those off in the course of the game. They're not very good. We get lots and lots of sacreds on this nation through use of national spells, but the most numerous sacreds have 1 hit point, and then the second most numerous sacreds have 2 hit points. They're very, very fragile. They don't really do much. There are probably ways that you could bless them to make them more useful, but in my case I did not. But yeah, we have tons of just annoying little sacreds everywhere if we want them. Other than that, very strong chassis. It's a big computer, so it generates heat and it's more powerful in cold, which, you know, makes sense. Got some fire, cold, and poison resistant. It's an inanimate. It's got pierce and slash resistant. It's also an amphibian. It's kind of surprising. I guess it makes sense. It's enclosed. It can run underwater. Anyway. So this is the god itself. We have Earth 5, S6, N4. We have these scales. This is a JBBM game, and so scales are slightly different. Luck is twice as good, and death is half as bad. And also misfortune is twice as bad, and growth is half as good. So I'm running a luck death build, which I think is more common in JBBM than in vanilla. I don't think you see these kind of builds in vanilla very much. But I wanted to try one out. I don't know if I've done it correctly. I think maybe you're supposed to take misfortune as well and then max productivity or something. I'm not sure exactly. I think the theory is, if you max luck and then death, and then also take drain, it gets rid of a lot of the gem events, and so you mostly get the gold events. So it's actually pretty good for income. But I might have done it wrong, I don't know. But I'm trying out just like this anyway. We've got 1 point of order, 1 of productivity. I was hoping maybe that gives us some more gold related events, I don't know. And then it's death 3, misfortune, luck 3, and drain 2. Yeah, we'll see. In theory, this should produce quite a lot of gold for us from events if we, you know, get lucky. But we'll see how it works out in practice. I took cold 1. I don't think I should have done this. I think this was a mistake. This game has started now, so I've seen our start location on the map. Although, in fairness, I made the map, so I shouldn't... I made the map, but I didn't pay much attention to... I think I might have made the map a bit wrong. I think I put too many, like, mountain connections and stuff on it. But anyway, our starting location is covered in mountain passes, and they all get closed off because we have cold scales. So it's really bad, actually, for us. On top of that, we have a few nations in this game that actually quite like cold. And we don't particularly like cold. I think we would have been much better off with heat. Uuodeouda is in this game who would suffer a bit more under heat. I think there's a Kalem in this game who I think like cold, right? There's Ocaf in this game who like cold. There's a few nations who like cold. And we don't particularly. And also we start next to a load of mountain passes. So cold was a mistake. I'm not sure why I did this, but I should probably try to just leave temp scales neutral in general, but I always like take it to pay for something more interesting. But I usually take heat. I don't know why I took cold in this case. Wrong though. Should have gone heat, but we got cold anyway. And not much else to say about the skills. The little research bonus we have on our Pretender helps offset the drain. And we have a national spell that gives us population. So I was thinking, if we get hurt too much by the death, we can try and recover that a bit with... we have a spell called Invert the Future. So I was thinking we could try that out as well to offset the downside of this particular type of build. So that was the thinking with the scales. We do have cap sacreds that we want to recruit, so I'm taking Dom 5 to get at least a few of those. And then I took a bless that I think is kind of okay on our sacreds and on our recruitable sacred as well. Our summon sacreds and our recruitable sacred. So poison weapons is an interesting one because we really want nature and astral on our Pretender. to use our national spells. The mages that we can recruit can't really use our national spells very effectively. So we want Big Astral and Big Nature on our Pretender to be able to do that. We have a bunch of Nature and then Death. And I thought, well, let's try Poison Weapons then. A lot of the summons that we'll be producing that are sacred, they don't do a lot of damage. In fact, the one glitches only do fatigue damage. So giving them something that at least helps them be a bit more directly killy might be useful, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes anyway. I thought it might be interesting to take Poison Weapons, I don't see it very often. Obviously, since a lot of our summon sacreds have very, very low hit points, using the Nature just to take plus HP would probably be quite good as well. But I wanted to try out a Weapon Bless on the glitches and see if that's any good. Our bigger glitches have multiple attacks per round. I'm not sure if that's any good with Poison or not though. But I guess we'll see later on. Twist Fate seemed like a good bless because, yeah, as I said, all of our glitches are pretty low hit points. So giving them Twist Fate means basically doubles their time that they're alive. So that seems pretty good. And it's also a nice one to slap on our Recruit Sacreds as well. Should be pretty good. We'll see how it goes. Fire and Shock Res to give all of our stuff Fire and Shock Res. I mean, the Celestial End starts with Earth. Fire and Shock Res seems like the most typical kind of Earth Bless you'll ever take. It's just a very, very, very efficient use of points. So yeah, this seems like a good sort of mediocre bless for most of our stuff. We'll see how it gets on. Gives our glitches a bit of survivability, a bit more killing power, gives us a nice resist on our line troops. And we have all of the magic that we really need. But anyway, that's the god. That's the nation. I'll leave it there, but yeah, I'll do a little bit of extra video now where I just look through all of the units and the spells. But I think I'll start by looking through some of the other Pretender gods we could have gone with, because they're also pretty cool. So I'll just switch over to that now. Okay, so here's Szumogliika, Broken Numbers. Szumogliika is a human nation ruled by sages and mathematicians. In recent centuries, the mages of Szumogliika have developed magical methods for piercing reality, allowing them to catch brief glimpses of the fundamental numbers of creation. Yeah, I'll look through the units in a second though. I'll just show off some of the other gods we could have gone with. We have, let's see, here's the Celestial Lens that we went with. Base paths are Earth, Astral, and Nature. It is 200 points. Yeah, it's pretty cheap for what it is. I think maybe it needs a bit of a nerf. Probably just has too much protection and too many hit points. Wouldn't be too bad otherwise, as long as it's expensive. There's 50 points more than an Oracle, but yeah. Oracle has 4 slots there, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably just a bit too tough. But pretty good anyway. For Titans, you have the Missing God, probably my favourite Pretender in the game that I've ever made. The Missing God is the previous Pantocrator, summoned back into the world. Only, something has gone wrong. He doesn't exist anymore. He has the index out of bounds attack. There have been some patches since back when I first made this nation in Dominions 4. Because this attack used to deal negative damage. It used to deal like negative 10 billion damage. And that used to still kill you. But then there've been multiple patches. He used to also have minus 25 attack, but you can't have negative attack anymore either. It used to be very funny. There was then an issue where he was hitting so hard that he was like overflowing units' health, or I don't know how you describe it, underflowing it. Basically, whenever he would hit something, it would gain 10,000 hit points. So I had to like keep fixing this damage value so that it would be a kind of funny, obscenely high number, but wouldn't actually cause bugs. Because the idea is that it's very difficult to actually hit with this attack, but when it does hit, it just insta-gives everything. It's pretty funny. But here's the Missing God, yeah, I really like this Pretender. It has a nice feature where it's Reanimator 32, so anything it kills has a 32% chance of being transformed into a 4 glitch, which are pretty powerful. And obviously he has a bunch of magic, so that counts for magical kills as well. He's an Ethereal Pretender. Not a very good expander because this attack doesn't hit very often, and he doesn't have much protection if things get through his Ethereal. He is, however, an Immortal. He reforms every 2 months. And he's got really nice paths as well. Air with Astral and Death is a really cool combo on a big Pretender. Because you can put up that big Soul Drain spell, and you can also do the Death spells as well. Yeah, he's really cool. I really wanted to use this Pretender, but I went with the lens instead. I chickened out and did a more reasonable build, instead of just taking this because it's cool. But there's the missing god. That one costs 170 points. For monsters, we have the Logic's Glitch. 20 in all stats. He's a Trample Swallower who's ethereal. Very, very strong. Glitched units, I think this guy also, yeah. So glitched units have the feature that they're all magic beings, but they all never heal. So they can only heal in a lab. Same for the Logic's Glitch. Magic being never heals. All the glitches are like that. This one has 20 in absolutely everything, but 64 hit points. He tramples and swallows, but doesn't gain hit points from swallowing. Also a Slimer with 20 poison skin. 3 error attacks. This is the basic glitch attack, so every glitch has this attack at least. All glitched weapons have the same features, which is that you can never repel these attacks, but you can resist them. Error does shocking fatigue damage. New paths cost 32. Starts with Astral 2. 4 miscellaneous slots. Pretty good. And then we have a couple of humans as well. We have the Director of Hidden Projects, who is an assassin. He also kills some people from time to time, but you know. Assassin and Spy. Also a Taskmaster. Got a patrol bonus, pillage bonus. He does all of the kind of nasty things that the nation likes to do. Death and Blood Pretender. And Szumogliika Counselor, who's just a very generic human. I guess he's just much better than all the other ones though. Great Sage for 100 points, or Counselor for 110. So he has Adept Researcher 30. Pretty good. Anyway, there's all the gods we could have gone with. I'll look at the units now. These 3 are our mages. So we have Threadbreakers, Loop Breakers, and Stack Breakers. They all have magic that's like this. They get 2 in one path and then 1 in another, with a 10% pick of an additional. So very occasionally you might get an S3 mage here. But Stack Breakers are interested in events. They are Astral and Death. Loop Breakers are interested in cycles of life. They are Death and Nature. And Threadbreakers are interested in creation itself. They are Nature and Astral. So they all kind of slightly duplicate each other's paths, but they have different focus. Threadbreakers have a slight forge bonus. Loop Breakers are disease healers, and Stack Breakers autocast Twist Fate. I think this describes the kind of theme of the nation. The mages of Szumogliika have spent centuries distressing the fabric of reality, attempting to peel back physical existence and catch a glimpse of creation itself. Successes have been rare, but they have been made, and they have revealed an anticipated truth, that the world and all its contents are simply numbers dancing and shifting along algorithmic patterns within some almighty engine of creation. This is Dominions running on your computer. Attempts to manipulate these numbers created the locus of broken numbers in Szumogliika's capital city, and it is there that the most powerful mages perform the most sacrosanct of magical experimentation. Stack Breakers are interested in mastering time and fate. They have discovered that the engine of creation organizes time into stacks of events. Understanding the events themselves might be impossible, as they can only ever be glimpsed as streams of celestial numbers, but events in the stack could be changed, rearranged, or even removed entirely, with potentially miraculous results. Yeah, decent researchers, I guess. It's just from their paths, but they're only 155 gold. These guys are all the same price, I believe, yeah. So you can recruit these guys anywhere, but I mean, for EA, these aren't very powerful in terms of what you can pull out of a capital. We also have theoretical mathematicians as well, who are, if for some reason you can't afford one of those mages, you might want to get one of these guys out. 10 research for 90 points. They've also got a little siege bonus, pretty good. We also have an H2 priest. We have a good leader who has terrain bonuses, and a not so good leader who doesn't. We can recruit assassins who also do slaving and stuff. And our spies are, well, our scouts are spies as well, which is pretty good. These are 45 gold spies we can recruit out of all of our forts. They're quite nice. For troops, we have the Unnumbered. This is if you just desperately need trash. You can recruit some slave units that are cursed at 4 gold. Really need a ton of spears with 6 morale, there you go. Short straws, more kind of basic kind of trash units if you need them. Very, very low resource and rec points. Advanced hackers and hackers. These are just pretty kind of standard troops. They have decent stats overall, nice set of armor, an axe. The advanced ones have old age, but they also have a throwing axe and a battle axe and no shield. so a bit more killy. We have bladder scoutes. These guys go berserk. That's pretty useful if you just need something to just stay in the fight. Their armor isn't very good though. They do have 2 attacks per round and they throw rocks, so pretty good. If these guys get enough XP, if they get enough experience, they will be promoted into a member of the Stellate, which is these guys. These are probably your best recruitable units outside of your Sacred. So very expensive in terms of resources and stuff though. Full set of gear, 16 protection, they have Formation Fighter 2 and terrain bonuses. So this is like a rock solid frontline troop. Their big drawback is slow, 9 combat speed, and heavy, 7 encumbrance. So, yeah. We have Applied Mathematicians. These are our archers. They have a combo, which is pretty good. And they also have a small siege bonus as well, so these guys are rocking a big 2 siege strength. Not too bad. And our cap sacred. So these guys will glitched weapons, as you can see, called broken numbers. All glitched weapons cannot be repelled, but they can be resisted. Broken numbers has a terrible penalty to attack, but it's very long and gets 2 attacks per round. So when we're hitting kind of stuff that's easy to hit and has low magic resistance, this thing will just shred them. But if we go up against stuff that's hard to hit and has high magic resistance, might not be very killy. Just depends. And they have a long description that explains a bit about the nation as well. But you can pause and read that if you'd want to. These are about the same price as the Stellate, I think. I think the only difference is they're sacred, so they can only be recruited according to holy points and only recruited in the capital. So there they are. Our cap sites are the Locus. You can enter it to summon 1 glitches and it boosts astral and nature range. And the Temple of Celestial Mathematics. Lots of gems. Szumogliika is very hungry for nature gems. I'll show off our spells actually, so you can look at that. So the big ones are in Alteration. We have a series of spells called Provincial Transfiguration. We can only cast this from our capital because it requires the cap site. But we cast this on a province. It severely damages the province, but it produces some glitches. And then there are increasing versions of this that do even more damage to the province, but produce more and different types of glitches. So 2 costs 4 gems, produces 1 and 2 glitches. 3 costs 8 gems, produces 1, 2 and 3 glitches, and so on. Also at level 4 in Alteration we get Individual Transfiguration. So it requires N2, S2, which means we have to get lucky on a Threadbreaker recruit. We need a Threadbreaker who comes with bonus Astral to be able to cast this. Otherwise we need our National Hero or our Pretender to cast this. And this glitches a commander. It's implemented in a very scuffed way because it's back from Dominions 4 when there was no like transformation command or anything like that. But I've left it alone because I actually like the fact that it works in a weird way. I think that fits the nation. So you cast this on a province and then a random commander gets glitched basically. So it's really finicky, which I like. You can also only cast this from the Locus. Provincial Transfiguration 4, 5 and 6. 6 is the big one. This costs 64 gems. This absolutely demolishes a province, but it gives you a pretty gigantic amount of stuff, including 6 glitches that are obscenely powerful. But we're probably not going to cast this spell very often. A couple of other national spells. I think there's one in Conjuration, which is Recall Missing Hero. So this calls a hero back from the Hall of Fame, but they're a bit like the Missing God. They're just like a black square with a bunch of weird bonuses. I don't think we have much else there. There's some good spells in Evocation as well. Random access attack. There's some weird lightning damage that chains, does untyped damage, and then summons a 1 glitch. Pretty weird one. Nice to have lots of dudes spamming it though. Instance Crash. This is time stop with a bunch of summons at the edge of the battlefield. It's pretty brutal, but it's very difficult to cast. You need Astral 8, Nature 5, and 7 Pearls. Probably not going to cast that very often. I don't remember if we have anything else. There's a bunch of items we can forge that are national items, but... Invert the Future as well, of course, yeah. But this gives you population for a bit. I can't remember how good it is, though. But I thought this might help offset the death. The other thing that's good for us with Death Skills is we have a lot of nature mages, and we even have disease healing nature mages as well. So supply problems probably won't affect us too much with the Death Skills. Disease probably won't affect us too much with the Death Skills. I think disease makes you more likely... I think Death Skills make you more likely to get diseased in winter, right? Or am I misremembering that? Either way, our loot breakers help there. No blood magic. Yeah, so there's all the pretenders we could have gone with. There's the nation and the spells. I think that's it for Szumogliika. Not much else to say about this game. The map was generated using MapNuke in Hexes Mode. Like I said, I generated the map, but I probably didn't do a very good job, but I did my best. There's just a lot of mountain connections and stuff like that, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm getting better at making maps, I think. I'll put a link to all of my nation mods in the description below. There'll be a link to MapNuke in the description below. There'll be a link to JBBM, because this is still a JBBM game, even though MyNations are in it. All these mods were merged together using the Domingler, so I'll also put that in the description as well. If there's a bunch of small mods you like playing but they're not compatible with each other, give the Domingler a shot. MyNations are all compatible with each other, but we needed to use the Domingler to merge MyNations with JBBM. So, yeah. The Domingler is made by Gonadic.io, who is a friend of the channel. Really cool guy. Great program he made. So I'll leave this video there. It's probably a very long intro. Hope you've enjoyed watching it, if you watched it all the way to the end. I think I mentioned already, but I'll try and get videos from this series up every Monday and Thursday. And the next video you see will be turn 1 to 3. So thanks as always for watching. Considering liking and subscribing and all the YouTube stuff if you haven't done that stuff already. Thank you to those who have. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.